decent. A few minor suggestions. All right, you all. Thank you all for tuning in to Twin Tuition. I am your boy, Donnie Don Akeem, or whichever you prefer.
And I'm Britt Brad Short Stack.
All right, and we do have a special guest with us. We're gonna allow you to introduce yourself really quickly. What's your name?
My name is Jennifer, and I am a professional psychic tarot card reader and massage therapist here in Milwaukee.
All that.
Period.
Okay, and we gonna get into what she does and how she can benefit you in just a moment. But before we do, it's been a month. So yes, it has been a month since our last show. So what's been going on with you?
Oh, it was my birthday.
Mm,
Duh.
Cancer
Turned
season.
32. Did a lot of eating, a lot of dressing cute. And I'm not done celebrating. I got a lot of other cancers that I know. So I'll be going out some more here and there. I'm old, so I'm not going to go out
You
that
noticed y'all
much.
last weekend, this weekend.
Yeah, tell that to all of us as a collective. It's not going to
Well,
happen.
in my mind, Cancer season does not end until August 22nd because we do not acknowledge Leos.
Oh, God.
So, yeah.
That'll work for us. That'll work for us.
All right. So, um, as you stated, it was your birthday.
Mhm.
And we did go see the City Girls
We went to go see the city
for your
girls.
birthday.
Yes.
City Girls came, shut the show down. What you think of the show?
Uh, you know what? I think that we were the show.
I mean, per usual,
I
darling.
think that I barely paid attention to them because I was so busy laughing at us dancing and just really cutting up. It was our concert and they was just happened to be on stage.
Do you
But
want to know the funniest thing that happened?
what?
Is somebody inboxed me, somebody from Madison that I've met twice ever in life. And he was like, were you at the City Girls concert? I was like, yeah, were you there too? He was like, no. He was like, one of my friends has you in the background of her story. So he was like, I'm finna screen record her story and send it.
And we was in the back fucking
Yes,
it up.
me, you, and Maya specifically, because that was at the point where me, you, and Maya was on one end. Me, you, and Maya. I'm like, that is hilarious.
Listen.
It was the Asian girl in front of us. Do you remember her?
Yes, she
it
was
was her.
fucking it up
Yes.
too. She was
It was
hilarious.
the Asian girl in front of her who caught us.
I liked her.
Yes,
Actually.
she was a vibe.
That was
And the dude
hilarious.
hit me up. He was an Asian guy. But that was so funny to me. I was like, damn.
I did not know
Like,
that.
we
That's
vibe
funny.
everywhere. But
It is.
so we did the City Girls concert.
Mhm.
We went out that night. That was a vibe.
That was so
You
much
took
fun.
us to a new restaurant.
We went to a Korean barbecue place in Mequon called like Kawa.
Not Howard. Bowie.
No,
I think it was
I thought it was
BAWI.
Cowie. KAW.
You said Howard, child.
I said Kawa.
Oh, I hear Howard.
No, that's because we have a friend named Howard.
Right.
That's not what I said. Starts with a K. And that's all I got for you. But
I think it starts with a B. It do.
oh
Actually,
well.
I'm like 90%.
We went to a
sure.
Korean barbecue place. Yeah. For the most
We
part,
had to
it was
make
good.
our own food.
They made me make it.
Yeah, on her birthday, she was whipping in the kitchen, okay?
It was good.
But that's because niggas like me don't really know. I won't say, I don't know how to barbecue, like grill. Like, that's what it was given. Like,
It
I pop
was.
my food in the oven, even bacon, I don't fry it. It goes in the oven, and I check on it. All right, you done? Here we go.
See, when
So,
we went to the one for Berto's birthday, Jamal made everything for everybody.
Jamal if he could cook. It must be a cancer thing.
He definitely can. We're like homemakers.
Right.
We give off housewife.
They're still
vibes.
annoying. So, anywho, so as y'all know, it was Brittany's birthday, and I guess I want to prefix this part with this year has been really transformative for me personally. It's been a lot of great things happening, and one of the great things happening for me this year is just having more access to funds, and I'm learning more about myself. And I'm not rich by any means of the word, but what I'm learning is that when I have more money, meaning outside of saving, obviously, and everything else that I have to do to maintain my life, is that I found that my love language is gift giving, and I used to struggle with what my love language was because I never really was able to tap into it. And I guess because I never really made enough money to truly understand that I like to give gifts. I actually thoroughly enjoy it. So I used to be stingy. Just as a child. She's going back to grade school.
I'm just saying.
You couldn't get a piece of candy from me, okay?
Couldn't
It's
get
my
it.
piece of candy.
Listen, I'll let you be on fire.
But with that being said, that she said her birthday passed, and I had expressed to her that I did get her a birthday gift, and that it was gonna arrive late. For those of
Oh,
you
she
that don't
did
know,
say
her
that.
birthday is July 4th, so her birthday was a holiday that threw it off whack. And then I had some payment issues because of the holiday that caused my funds to come later. I'm like, dang, I hope it's in time for the podcast. But it arrived, so I did get you a gift
I
for
keep
your
telling you, you ain't
birthday.
have to give me no gift. City Girls was enough.
Yeah, I paid for that
But
City
I
Girls
take
ticket too. So
What did you? Why are you Why is you playing with me? I got me some Go Naked hair straightener. So geeked. If you know, you know. Motherfucking Portia Williams.
So if you don't know, we're both big Housewives fans, and our favorite housewife is Portia Williams. And Portia sells hair, products, bundles, everything of this nature. So I went ahead and got her Portia's new-ish, because I think she came out with it in like March, but her new-ish
That's okay.
flat iron.
OMG.
Brittany's really into her hair, so.
I can't wait. Oh, I can't wait. Thank you so much, brother.
You're welcome. You're welcome.
Aw. Keep telling you ain't had to give me nothing, but I'm not giving it back.
And it's a card in there too that you could read.
is?
Yeah.
Ooh, I'm so ghetto.
No, the card it's a big bag, and the card is buried.
It was
And mind you, I want to just point out that my handwriting is not the best, but it's worse than usual because I was writing on a wooden table and the pen kept giving out. So I had to kept going back over letters because it would go out in the
On
middle
the
of a letter.
inside?
Yes.
Oh. Because
I'm
I was
like-
about to say, the envelope look like all the other ones. I keep all my envelopes and all my cards.
I do too. I don't play them games.
I have all of them from high school and everything.
Me too. I got notes between me and you and Lauren.
Ooh, Lord, not the wrinkles. This is us.
Here,
Y'all
what
can
does it
see
say?
This is us in our 80s and 90s.
What does it say?
Here's to aging. Here's to wrinkles. Here's to laughing till we tinkles. Oh, God, that's us. Here's to friends that see us through. Here's to birthdays. Here's to you. I'm supposed to read what you wrote, dude.
Yeah, I mean it's not.
Clear my throat here. This year, we celebrated 25 years of friendship, full of ups and downs, good and bad times, but we have some of the best memories and bonding moments. I can't wait to grow old and talk about the memories we still have yet to create. I know, right? Aw, thank you.
Remember that time we was 32? You're welcome.
I keep telling people we're going to be in our 70s and 80s still arguing about housewives, dentures on the side, just cutting up.
Wait, let me grab my dentures real quick.
Right, wait. Let me get you
got me
together.
fucked up. It's a vibe all
We're
the
gonna be
time.
arguing forever.
Happy birthday.
Thank you.
Happy Cancer season. I'm a water sign, so I won't hate too much. What's your sign?
Sagittarius.
Sag. When you December or
I'm in
November?
December.
December.
The 20th, like right on the edge.
Oh, my
Yes.
mom's the last day. She's the 21st.
Okay, yep.
So yeah, she's right on that cusp too. I'll be having a love-hate relationship with y'all.
I've been having a love-hate relationship with myself.
Oh, dang.
we are out of control.
But y'all are strong personalities, and I can respect another strong personality. But Sagittarius, that
Always.
fire.
Yeah.
Woo, baby. But y'all are fun when y'all have fun.
Yes.
Y'all are fun. I
Yes.
think that's what Pisces and Sag, that's where we connect. When it's time to have fun, like we're in an
Let
environment
loose.
where it's fun, like
Right.
Melania,
Mm.
even my mom back in her younger days, like fun. If long, just keep it at fun.
Listen.
Don't get too close.
Right. Don't do too much now. Keep it real close.
So, we do have a guest, and we do want to get into what she's here for. Now, you're gonna have to forgive me because I can tell you your birthday, but I forgot your name. December 20th.
Jennifer.
I am so
Jennifer.
good
It's
at
Jennifer.
birthdays, but I cannot remember names. Okay, Jennifer.
Yes.
All right. So Jennifer, can you tell us a little about yourself, where you come from?
Sure. So I'm born and raised in Milwaukee. Most of my life I lived on the north side.
Period.
At some point,
Where?
So I grew up all over. So my dad lives off 46th and North. So on that
Oh,
part.
you run across from me.
Yeah. And then I grew up in a place called the Valley. So Pigsville. It's off of like 42nd, 41st and St. Paul. Like when we were little, our
Oh, okay,
teenagers,
okay,
that's
okay.
kind of where we were.
That's one across from me too.
And then as I got older, we moved for a few years. Oh, sorry. My
You're
first time on
fine.
TV.
You're fine.
For a few years we lived like out in
Hey, bro.
Waukesha in the suburbs, but then we came back, and then I lived on 25th and Congress for a long time.
Oh,
I had
girl,
a
you
house-
in you
Yes,
from the hood.
and then I had a house on 36th and Nash.
Come to the hood.
I am the hood.
Listen.
So I've been all over, and then like in the later years, because I have a son. So when he was like 16, 17, I took him and I moved him to the south side because I just felt like he was going down the wrong path. So I tried to like take him on a different direction. So
Okay. All right. Come on.
What's up?
So I'm sorry. I hope I'm not overstepping the boundaries, but are you white?
yes.
Or, okay.
I know a
Okay.
lot of people ask. They always think like me and my sister are Hispanic or something.
Yeah, I did. That's why I asked.
Yes.
I
No,
did.
she was
Especially
very
when she was like the
forthcoming.
South Side. I'm like, okay, she knows she's to be around her people.
No.
No, because I'm kind of a straightforward person, and like in this new era, it's like everything's offensive, and I
Yeah.
don't mean to be, so that's why I always ask. Like,
Yeah.
is that offensive? Like, can I ask you anything? Of course, I'm not gonna be like nothing crazy,
Right.
but within reason. Okay, so you're from the North Side. The North Side Black people, that gives church, that gives hallelujah, praise God. So how do we get?
Invite to the cookout?
But as far as like spirituality and beliefs in that type of realm
Oh,
of
like
things,
traditional,
yeah,
yeah,
like how do you go
Christianity
from growing up on the North? I know how I made that journey, but for you, how did it happen to actually being a person that reads people?
So the thing is, and this is probably where I get the most like negativity is, so my mom, she is Catholic, but we were never raised in the church.
Mhm.
So I mean, we went here and there growing up or whatever. And so like, yeah, do I believe in God? Do I pray to God? Yes. Did we learn some of the Bible? Yes. But my mom, my grandmothers have been psychics all their lives, so I've been around this since I was born. So we have so many different things that we believe in or practice or experience that it's hard to just say it's a certain thing. And I get a lot of like negativity for that because people are like, well, you're doing the devil's work or you don't believe in God. And it's like, first of all,
That's them
I actually do
traditional
believe in
Christians.
God and I pray to God and I feel like I got my gift from God. So I don't
What
know
is
where
a
that's coming
prophet?
from.
Anybody want to break that down? What a prophet is, because that's in the Bible, right?
Right.
And what do prophets do? Oh, okay.
You'd be surprised how
Mhm.
many times people send me that Bible verse about you shouldn't go to mediums and blah blah blah, and I'm just like, whatever. Like,
Well, for me to tie it into you a little bit, brief backstory about myself. I actually have a hard time believing in the Bible, the book.
so can I say
Same.
I agree?
Yes.
And this is my thing I always say to people, like, if you're doubting me, you're living your life based on a book no one today ever saw written. I feel
Mhm.
like it's
Yep.
been rewritten and reinterpreted to fit
Mhm.
everybody's narrative. And this is Western culture or whatever. Like
Yes.
in other areas, they have their own things going on. So they don't
Mhm.
even necessarily believe in what we believe in. And I just feel like when people use that as their like thing for me, I'm just like, whatever.
To me, I feel like it's convenient when they use it as well, because
Yeah.
it's like, okay, if you're living by this book, then let me take a fine tooth comb through your life
Mhm.
and
Okay.
Perry chick those things that
Yes.
even our old school grandmothers, parents, and things of that nature. Like my mom had all of her children out of wedlock, but not no shade to mom, because mom's come a long way.
Yeah.
She's come a long way, but to use the Bible to condemn my sexuality
Mhm.
when your children were born is kind of contradictory of you to do so.
Exactly.
Yes.
So I struggle with the Bible, but I do believe in God. My thing with God is that I know there's a higher power. I struggle with whether, because the Bible is associated with Christianity, whether I believe in Christianity or whether I just believe in like the universe. So
Mhm.
those are the two. It pulls
Same
me daily.
struggle,
Like,
yeah.
okay, I say God in my prayers and things like that, but in my mind, like when I'm conscious about it, I'm like, I think I'm praying to the universe. I don't know.
Mhm.
Yeah.
It's a daily struggle, but I know that all this didn't come from nothing.
Right.
Yeah.
So atheists kind of confuse me as well. I have my own qualms about that too, but no judgment on either end. But it's just like looking at it from my point of view. It's kind of hard not to think that some being didn't create all of this.
Right.
But since we all grew up in religion, um, what was that struggle like for you? Especially you grew up on the north side and you being white, and the north side is predominantly black.
That's a whole
Was
nother
that-
show.
was that-
Right.
That is a whole nother show. I just think like for me, I kind of take I like as I grew up, I feel like my religion is based on experience. So I kind of pull from different places. So like, I mean, we were never taught, oh, you should be burning sage. Like that's a Native American type thing.
Mhm.
But for me, like my mom did it, my grandmothers did it, so I do it too, even though I'm not Native American. And Palo Santo, I think, is like Latin, but I feel like that works for what I do. As far as like religion goes, honestly, I mean, we really didn't get into it too much because, like, I'm telling you, I came from a house where my mothers and my grandmothers, like, they read tea leaves, they did automatic handwriting, like
nice.
they did tarot card reading, and they didn't even use these kind of cards. They used a regular deck of playing cards. And so like everything was just different. And I want to say like religion didn't really play a factor because we didn't go to church. It only came into play like, oh, if you're being bad, like you shouldn't do that, or you need to pray to God, or like if scary things, like we always had to learn a prayer to say. Like early on, my mom would be like, this is what you say if you feel like spirits are coming or this, because she saw that like we had it too, and she would teach us that. So it's like I just take from every place what works for me. And I always say
Right.
like this when people are like God and universe, that whole conversation, or like, oh, you pray to crystals and not God. It's like that's not how it works. But
Right.
I think whatever works for you that gives you hope or gives you a positive movement forward,
Yes.
that can be whatever you want it to be.
Exactly.
So if you pray to God and you pray to your dog, I don't care, just as long as
It's positive,
right?
Absolutely.
I said it too. I don't knock nobody unless you worshiping the devil and conjuring up some evil spirits. I don't have no problem with it.
Right.
What's been your relationship with dealing with religion? And we kind of in the same boat. We grew up very religious.
Very religious.
My mom is probably the age of most people my age, grandparent. So my mom is older. So she was very, very, very religious. And like I said, she's come a long way, but growing up was no easy task. So for you, now that you're seated at where you're seated in life, have you shared your thoughts about the Bible and things like that with your family?
Woo. That's a bit much.
Yeah.
So yeah, grew up really, really religious. We went to Catholic schools and a Lutheran high school. And then outside of that, we were going to like traditional Christian apostolic type churches where you had to wear like the skirts to the ankle, no makeup, no jewelry, no nail polish, nothing.
No red.
No red,
Whores
no
wore
pink,
that.
no nothing with them. No, for real. Like
No, for real.
damn near if you even had on clear, they was like, you're a whore. Like, it was crazy. Like,
I'm glad I didn't
if you
grow up
wasn't-
religious.
Yeah.
if you wasn't in church every single day, you was a whore. Like, it was just insane. I got called a whore once. I had never even spoken to none of them raggedy boys in that church because, first of all, none of them was cute. And two, I didn't want to be labeled the whore for talking to the boys, right? So in my mind, I'm always like, I'm not going to talk to none of these niggas. Still got called a hoe. I'm walking across the parking lot holding my niece. I'm not even doing nothing. What is you talking about? So yeah, I don't already have the
A lot
best
of projection was going on.
man. So I already don't have the best relationship with like the traditional Christianity part or whatever. So that moment I just mentioned actually is what started my questioning everything. Questioning the Bible, questioning Christians, questioning a lot, because I had just had a lot of experiences where I was like, this cannot be, if there really is a God, this cannot be what the hell he was talking about. It just can't.
No, it can't.
It just can't.
Similarly for
So-
me with my sexuality, that's what, because I'm like, I
Yeah.
tried to pray it away as a child. And they said that when you're a child, like, because I knew very young. That's why my heart goes out to these transgender kids and the stuff that they go through, because they were like, how do you know at 5? I'm like, I knew at 5.
We
So-
knew when you was 5'2".
Yeah.
But my thing is, I do think it's a bit much to change their gender at that young. I
Yes.
think that you
Yes.
should allow them to express themselves, to change parts and things
That's
of
a
that nature.
lot.
That's
Yeah.
that's a bit much, but I don't have to raise that child. That's on you. But I do think that people know. People say when you're 5, you don't know what you. I knew I was gay. I knew I was gay at 5, but as I grew older and then I came into my early 20s when I finally came out, I was like, okay, so I'm supposed to be condemned to hell just because I am attracted to men. It doesn't matter that I'm a good person. It doesn't matter about all of the good things that I do. It doesn't matter that I love people and I try to do right. None of that matters. It just matters of what I'm attracted to. And I just feel like that didn't sit right with me. So I'm like,
Well,
that this can't be
and
it.
to touch on actually that while you were talking, it just made me think of something. To touch on what you said about like older people and criticism, here's a perfect example. My grandmother, being the devout Christian as she is, I couldn't watch Charm. I would watch it
Oh, we
anyway.
couldn't watch Harry Potter. We couldn't do none of that shit.
I would watch it anyway, but it was a battle.
Mm.
But she went out and bought all the Harry Potter books, read all of them, and never said nothing when I would watch Harry Potter. But let me watch Charm. We was getting into it about
Because
that.
I think when Charmed, didn't they call themselves witches?
They did.
Harry Potter wasn't it promoted as more like a kidsy fantasy
I
world?
guess. Kiss my ass.
Even though it's
all
the same
witchcraft.
thing, it
Yeah.
is. It
Like,
is.
I ain't trying to hear it. So it was very hypocritical to me. That was another turning point for me as well.
Yeah, I feel you. So since we're on a time frame, I have one more question for you before we get into the readings.
Okay.
Okay, so you identify as a psychic, right?
Yes.
Okay. So what's the difference between you and like a root worker or other types of people who tap into the otherworldly? What exactly is a psychic?
Okay, so it's hard because I think everybody has different types of gifts and they like tap into it. But like for me, I'm a psychic where I can connect with spirits that have crossed over.
Mm.
Or so like I can connect with spirits. Sometimes I hear them, sometimes I see them, sometimes lately, like recently, I've started feeling things that happen. Like was doing a reading for a girl and I got a really bad cramp and I'm like, I'm sorry, I have to touch on this. I'm like, I don't know if you had a miscarriage, lost a baby, something. And then she responded because I do readings and then I send the video and then they respond. She came back and she was like, nobody knew about that. Nobody. She's like, yes, I had a miscarriage. So lately I've been able to like feel stuff. But there's confusion because some people are like just strictly tarot card readers and they use their intuition to read the cards, but they don't talk to dead people. And I do both. I use tarot cards to channel the messages that I believe that I'm getting. I'm not really sure what you mean by root worker because I don't know if that term isn't familiar to me, but like, do you mean like light worker, energy worker, something like
So
that?
to my knowledge, root workers are people who like don't get me I'm gonna explain it in my terms
Yeah.
to where I understand. It's someone who basically can manifest things in
Okay.
your life. So they can help you to guide you to maybe become rich or to get a certain position in life that you want or whatever like that. That's been my understanding of it because I just got into understanding that there's more than like just
Yeah.
psychic and
Mhm.
just the basic terms that I knew. I was watching a podcast. They were actually set up just like this, where a root worker was on there, and she was saying, like, yeah, because there was a psychic there as well, and they were explaining the difference between their talents.
Mhm.
I don't remember exactly, but I do remember the term root worker, and to me, what I gathered was it was more so somebody who could help you manifest something.
So a psychic for me, I can like see things that are going to happen or maybe even see something that might have happened that there's no way I would have been able to see it, like in real time. Or I can connect with people who've crossed over. I think a root worker, like someone who manifests things, because obviously just because I'm a psychic doesn't mean I'm rich. Someone who can manifest probably manifests like the ability to advance themselves in life. I think it's a way of thinking and a different way of looking at things, and they kind of use their intuition to guide them into the direction that's successful for them.
Mhm.
But I also believe that every single person has intuition. I think every single person is actually psychic and every single person probably could manifest. We just don't know how
To like
I
tap
believe
into
that
to tap
too.
into it.
I believe that
Yep.
too.
And most people, what did you grow up? Don't do that. You shouldn't know how to do that. And I feel like this is my thing I have with the Bible. I think that possibly it was put out there because imagine if everyone could tap into their intuition and knew what their life purpose was and they just did everything they're supposed to do. You have some people who would use it for the wrong. So I
Right,
think it
right.
was kind of like shunned, like, oh, don't do it because, you know, you don't know how to control it, or not everyone should
Mhm.
have it. But I think that, you know, most of us, I mean, we all have it. It's just you have to either be in tune with it or be introduced to it, or you discover it on your own, or at some point something major happens in your life and you all of a sudden realize like everything's different or something needs to change. And so then you start kind of developing it. And I feel like that's what I did. Like I always had it. I used to be like, this is a dumb gift because I can't help people. Like I had a dream before a body was being pulled out the river. I woke up, I told my boyfriend, I'm like, they're gonna find a body in the river today. He's like, girl, go to work. Stop talking to me about this. At like 10 o'clock in the morning, he texted me like, go on your computer and Google Fox 6 News or whatever. And a body was pulled from the river. And so I was telling my mom, well, what's the point? I don't know who that person was. I couldn't have saved them. I didn't know, you know. So it's like, why do you have a gift you can't use? So in the last few years, I started like tapping into it myself. Like I'm gonna eat better. I'm a pray. I'm gonna do meditation. All the things I used to think were weird, I started doing them. And literally after a week-long cleanse, I was out in Cali. I did a week-long cleanse. I came home. I woke up one morning and this is so crazy. I feel like a nutcase when I say this, but like an eyeball opened up in front of me. And I said, what the fuck was that? Like, did I just open my intuition? And literally ever since then, I can do it so much better than I was doing before. And I feel like think about society. We don't eat healthy. We don't meditate. We
Mhm.
always in a rush. We always have electronics. All of the things that we shouldn't have or whatever. I feel like if we didn't have
Distractions.
those, yep, we could be using our intuition and stuff more. And we would all be able to kind of know our life purpose because some of us never find it. Some of us know right away. I believe like athletes and people who get rich and famous, I feel like they tapped in early and their gift of intuition led them to play basketball or be great at it or be successful at it. Some of us, we don't know. We have to go through a million trials and errors of things. But then when we finally tap in, like when I'm reading people's cards now, I can relate to almost anyone in things that you would never think because it happened to me, even though it might have been shitty and I wish it would have never happened. I could say, oh, spirit showed me this, you know, this happened. Is this something? And they'll break down crying like, girl, I didn't think anyone else went through this or understood. And it's like, so I don't know.
Lord, she
Oh,
gonna
that's
get me.
actually the perfect
Yes.
segue
She's gonna get
into
Yeah.
us getting our readings. So, girl, we looking at the original time at this point.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah, we are.
I'm
So we're gonna get
cry.
into it. So, I'll leave it up to you. Who you want to do first?
Okay, I'm gonna do her first, and I'm
Okay.
just gonna explain real quick how I do it. Okay, so three things I want to touch on. Everybody can find their own intuition. I'm actually going to try and work on a book to help people tell them all the things that I did because I really feel like that helped me. And when people say about God, listen, I sat in my bed crying like I just gave up my whole life, 16 years at a job. I had good money, had this, I had that to start something completely different. I'm putting my trust in you. Let's make this happen. And that's when I came back and it opened up. So, yes, I do believe in
I
God. I
remember that
think you have to
post.
give yourself all to Him for it to happen. Am I perfect? No. Do I mess up all the time? Yeah, it's trial and error. But everyone can learn it, so you can teach yourself how to do it and control it. It's if you have it, stop being afraid of it. You have to learn to use it. The second thing is I feel like a lot of like mental health issues, sometimes I feel like these people have tapped in, these children have tapped in when they're young, and people are like
Yes.
not understanding. Because if I said to you, oh, I'm 5 years old, and I said my bed is shaking and I hear growling, you're gonna be like, this girl needs to go to a psych ward.
Mhm.
And then 20 years
I
later,
feel
I'm
like
talking to
kids always
spirits.
know.
No, sometimes when people label schizophrenics, I be thinking sometimes they actually see they see
Mhm.
what's going on around. That's why they seem crazy to us because we don't see or we're not tapped in.
Yes.
Right.
I think sometimes I be like, no, we think they crazy. This woman really see what's going on.
I'm saying
Yeah.
I don't half the time think they crazy. I'm wondering who do they see that I'm not seeing.
Hello,
Yes.
point
I'm
me in
pretty
the other
sure
direction.
I'm pretty sure they talking to somebody.
I feel like, or special needs kids too. I
Yeah.
think so. Everyone I think has it. So mental health. Sometimes I feel like people should listen to you, let you say, like, don't necessarily just assume you're crazy or you're this or you're that. It may really be that you've discovered something that you were told you wouldn't supposed to or whatever. But how I do my readings is basically I feel like I'm talking super fast. I meditate on the person's name or picture. And then I just close my eyes and see what comes to me. I write it down and then I try to spirit doesn't always be like, oh, this is her grandmother, Becky, blah, 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 blah. they'll show me my grandmother, and then I have to kind of be like, oh, I think spirit wants me to address your grandmother's in the room, or your grandmother's around you. And so for you, I'm just going to show you, I meditated and wrote that down. For you, an older lady did come through. So when I meditated, I saw an older lady to me, which would be a grandmother. But the weird thing is they showed me two grandmothers. So I don't know if you were close to two different grandmothers or if it's just referencing grandmother in general. But it showed one, and I feel like she's a softer spoken one and she was quiet, but then it showed me this other one that we would refer to as our nanny. We would call her nanny, and she was more like, she put her foot down, she didn't take no shit, like type of grandma. So I don't know if it's just one is trying to reference in general, like that's their way of like letting you know they're around you or they're coming through for you, or if it is actually two. Do you know?
If it's older women, it will be my great grandmother on my dad's side. She was really, really, really sweet, really, really nice. I've never seen her angry or anything. And I think a week before she passed, I actually made a promise to her to like start calling her and coming around more. And I didn't. And then when she passed, I always carried this huge amount of guilt. And then the other woman is probably my yaya. That's my great aunt that passed from cancer.
Okay.
We were really, really close. She was definitely the Spitfire, the firecracker. She liked to pop her trunk on people like she would say all the
Okay.
time. So
Okay, so that's probably the reference to the two women. Now, the other thing that I touch on is I'll tell you what spirit showed me. Now, one thing I can say is sometimes my readings take like 3 months to play out. So I might say something to you and you're like, that ain't making no sense. And then like a month later, you're like, yeah, so guess what happened? If it doesn't ever come through, then maybe I just misinterpreted it. But for some reason, they kept showing this lady, the grandmother lady, standing in front of this apartment that's empty. And so I was like, I don't know if you recently moved or if you're planning on moving.
I'm trying to move.
Okay. So they were referencing that. And the grandmother, she was standing in front of an empty apartment. And then it's weird. It's like this lady that lived below me that I didn't even talk to. So I don't know why they showed me her, but she actually did move to another apartment that was bigger, a nicer, bigger one. So maybe it's just referencing you will be moving and it'll be a bigger space for you. It might not be really far or whatever, or maybe it's not where you necessarily thought you were going to be moving, but I think it'll be like maybe possibly better or bigger. The other thing is, this I thought was weird. I started to see like Paris and the Eiffel Tower.
Ooh.
And I was like,
I'm finna go home.
So then I was like, I don't know what that is. And I saw like a car pull up and a person step out and look up. And I was like, okay, do you have something about Paris? Are you going on a trip there? Is that a place you'd always want to go? Is there something with that? I don't know, but that's what they showed me.
I'm about to go home. I have a vision board hanging up on my closet that I look at every day. And the biggest part of the vision board is the Eiffel Tower.
Aww.
And it says Paris right on top. That is the number one place that I want to go to. And actually this year, I kept trying to tell my friends and stuff not to really do nothing for me because next year, that's where I wanted to go for my birthday.
All right. Well,
Not next year, the year after.
She did.
Before
I'm
he
about to say
corrected
you
me.
did. Yeah, I did. I'm like, you said it. I corrected you. Like, hold on. Next year we going to Miami.
Yes, next year is Miami. The year after that is Paris. I'm saying in Paris.
Well, you need to go, I think. And then and so that's my way when I do my meditation. Sometimes people are like, well, that doesn't help me. Okay, well, that's just spirit giving me something I wouldn't know. How would I know that these things connect for you? So then when I do my readings, so normally I have way more decks of cards and I kind of like let the person pick a lot. But since it's short, I always go with my favorite deck.
Good,
I
'cause
usually
was gonna pick that one anyway. That's what I was looking at.
Well, I'm gonna take basically like 2 cards from it, 1 or 2 cards, so we don't have to.
Hey, Jamal. I'm sorry to interrupt really quickly.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, Jamal. I can't hear all that because I'm in the bar. Oh, it's not serious. He's so
sent
annoyed.
videos to the group, and I told him we were recording.
I am. She is bomb and can relate to her so much being psychic and intuition. She said everybody can tap into it. So,
So
tap in, tap in.
Okay. So I let the cards fall. I don't pick them. And that was my other point. How do you know the difference between a fake and a real person? I feel like a fake person, they're going to ask a lot of probing questions.
Mm-hmm.
I don't ask questions. I tell you what I see. And then I just say, does it resonate? Because if it doesn't, then I'm like, oh, I got to go home and like do something because it should have made some sense. The other thing is general stuff like, oh, I feel like you always date men who are narcissistic. Okay, anyone can say that.
Yeah.
I can look at
Right.
your Facebook and say that.
Right.
Or the other thing I don't like is, you should come see me next month. I always tell people, I don't even want to see you back for at least 30 days, maybe even not 90 days, because I want this to play out first.
Exactly.
So that was my other thing I was going to
And if
touch
they
on.
come back in 30, maybe you can guide them or something like with what you.
What I was trying to tell
Yeah,
them.
what you're trying to make
Yeah.
happen. Because
Always
sometimes I
watch
feel like
your
if you
cards. They
put trust in
right
it, then
on
people
how.
be like they're looking for it and they make it happen because you
Yes.
told them it would
Yes.
happen.
Right.
My other thing real quick is I hate when people ask me, can you read my boyfriend? No, it's for you, and what's for him is for him. I'm not
Right.
gonna tell you.
If
Or
he's cheating, that's what
yes,
they
they all
Right.
want to know, like, is
Girl.
someone cheating? And what I always say is, you can't ask me, but if I see it, I will tell you. The other thing is I learned not to read people together as far as couples, because if someone is cheating and it comes out, I don't want to be lying in my reading,
Right.
but I don't be
Right.
wanting to tell the truth
Yeah,
either.
you don't
Like,
want to have no
your
drama
man's
right in front of
cheating
you.
on
Have a whole fight,
I'm
like,
not trying to be a
girl.
witness to nothing.
Yeah, so your husband.
I would be like, I'm just gonna pack my things and go.
I feel like I had a reading like that once too. He wasn't with me, but I feel like she was getting ready to be like, "Bitch, divorce him." And go.
Well, one time I did this girl's reading, and real quick, I was like, girl, why the I said, and this is so mean, in the meditation, I'm like, I honestly see a junkyard and a dog. And then I was like, I feel like it's referencing that your man is trash. Like, you need to let him
that's
go.
different though. If
And
he
then
was
she
coming to
sent
me
him
like
the
that.
reading. She sent him the reading so he could hear me say that he was trash. I'm like, girl.
Oh, so she toxic too.
Right.
Got it.
Yes.
Okay.
Okay, so for you, the first two cards that came out, deception and envy. And then the next card is patience. And I'll hold them up. So I referenced the numbers on this deck. And the reason I referenced that is because 7 and 14. So there's a possibility that 7 or 14, the month of July, possibly could be something important for you, or maybe 7 years ago, 2014, 2007, something about that could be important for
Them
you.
added together is my favorite number.
21.
21.
Yeah, I was like, ooh, let me not do my math. So the first card, deception and envy, it sucks, but I feel like there is someone around you that's being deceitful, putting on a fake face, putting on a facade, and it's probably going to come to light. You're finally going to see it for what it is. If it's you doing it, they're going to come on to you. Like, they're going to figure it out. So just letting you know it will come out. But honestly, I feel it's the other way around. Possibly you're going to find out like someone's not a real friend, or my boyfriend ain't this, or a job ain't this, but somebody's doing something that's deceitful, and you're going to figure it out and see it. Your next card is patience.
I don't have none.
Exactly. Slow and steady wins the race. So it's like whatever you're working towards or have been working towards, maybe you feel kind of stagnant, or like it's not moving in as quickly as you want, or the direction you want, but have patience. You're being delayed, or you're being taken around in a different path to kind of get you prepared for what you're supposed to be doing or what's supposed to come. So don't rush it.
Okay.
Then the next thing I always ask people is, do you want to pick a card? Which deck do you like better? Just based on looks.
That one.
This one. So it's like a clarifying message, or any other message that Spirit might want you to know. These ones sometimes are a little bit more personal. They kind of touch on like things we need to work on in ourselves.
I will pick the personal.
But
I would have picked them too, and I am when it's my.
that's too many. I'm not gonna read that many. All right, let's go with that one. Okay, so this one is play with the number 20. That number I'm not really going to touch on, but the dolphins in the water play. Make sure that make sure you're having fun in your life. Everything can't be so serious. You can't stress yourself out being focused too hard on things. You have to be able to enjoy life, take moments to play, have fun. Also, because of the dolphins and the water, again, possibly referencing a trip, going somewhere where there's water near the ocean, something like that. So go out, have
Literally
some
just
fun.
in the ocean for my birthday a few days ago.
Oh, okay. So maybe it's just in reference to that then. And then the last one, I always ask people if they want to do a love reading, but I'll tell you like this. I have two decks. One is like a legitimate like love message. The other one is more of like your subconscious message to yourself, or your spirit guides talking to you.
I want a spirit guide.
All right. And I don't know why they made these cards shaped like hearts. It's like impossible
to shuffle.
To
I
shuffle.
know.
You gotta
You gotta have some big old hand,
hands.
right?
Like
My hand's too little for these.
Like it's cute, but
I was gonna say something. Like,
Oh, don't you do it.
love you, friend.
Okay, you got a lot. So let me just touch on this. So your first one is manifesting miracles. It says your dreams are soon to become reality. Just trust your heart and continue to follow its guidance. Trust your heart. And that doesn't necessarily mean in love. It could be in anything. Don't let other people take you off your path or try to switch it up for you. Go with what you feel is right for you. Healing. Imagine yourself and your beloved surrounded by light. Feel your relationship being healed. Again, if you have someone, possibly you guys need some healing to do together, work together. If you don't have anyone, it's talking about healing with yourself. Basically, imagine yourself surrounded by light. Like imagine yourself in a better space and start thinking about the love that you want so that that's what you're surrounding yourself with. And then the last one is let there be closeness between you, but give each other space. Love never claims, it simply allows and gives. People always feel as if someone else is like their property in a sense. And it's kind of like you can't control other people and they can't control you. So you can be together, but you also can go do things without each other and be happy together. So that's what I have for your reading.
Does that resonate, darling?
Oh, a lot did, child. You already know a few.
I knew a few of the things that was okay. Do me.
You so irritating.
And so they're gonna watch me right now. I actually knock and blow on my cards to let them know a new energy's coming in.
Nice.
There was one other thing I wanted to touch on, and I'm trying to think what it was because it was important.
Oh,
I
please.
forgot.
Let me know, Lord. It's funny because Devontae said that he meant to text me that because I had asked him, was he watching?
Mhm.
He said, I am. She is the mom. And then he texted me and said, oh my God. I was supposed to send that via text.
Too
At
late.
least
Thank
it
you.
was positive. At least it wasn't negative.
Okay. So now your meditation was kind of weird. I was like really trying to figure out what it was meaning. So I don't know. You could probably enlighten me.
Okay.
And you're going to be like, what? So as soon as I closed my eyes for you, it showed me the Andy Griffith show, like when he was a police officer, like this old country, like I don't know if it was like Mississippi or something, like down south. Andy Griffith, police officer. But then it also showed me In the Heat of the Night. And are you familiar with that show? With the are you okay? So it showed me, I think his name was Virgil, like the black officer or whatever. But again, they're both like small towns and a person who's like in a position of power or to help others or like an officer or a police officer or something like that. So I don't know if it's literally that connection or if there's a man person for you, someone not necessarily that would have been a dad, but someone who would have been like that, a person respected or a person that helped others or some type of kind of like a father figure or someone you could look up to that has passed away that would want to come through for you. And I don't know what the connection is like with law or law enforcement. I don't know if
so there's definitely a Mississippi small town connection. The biggest connection I can make to the law enforcement is that my ex-husband, his stepdad was an officer, a sheriff in Mississippi, but I didn't know him like that.
Oh, okay.
Is
he passed away?
No, he's still living.
He's still living?
His dad had passed away. My ex-husband's dad passed away, but
not the stepdad.
Not the stepdad. He's still here. The only other person I know in law enforcement is Lauren's dad.
I was thinking about you getting pulled over the other day, child.
Oh, well, maybe there was something with that.
I did get pulled over like a week and a half ago. But it wasn't. I don't know where that guy was from.
Yeah, you didn't know enough about him to know if he was like.
So the only other thing I could think about that then I wrote down is possibly any legal issues or legal matters going on. So maybe they're referencing that. Because that's the only other thing I can get from that. That's what I'm telling you. It was kind of weird. I don't know.
Was that supposed to be? Are they guiding me? They helping me out with the legal issues?
They help you up.
No, they help me because, okay, I'm going to be full transparency. I'm a transparent person. So a week and a half ago, I got pulled over out in Cudahy, and they tried to give me an OWI because I was drinking and driving. However, I passed the field sobriety test.
Okay.
So when I passed the field sobriety test, it was like they were confused because they knew I was drunk, but they were like, how the fuck you do that? So they were confused. And they tried to make me blow in a breathalyzer. I was like, no, thank you. I passed, right? So I'm not doing that.
Right.
So long story short, they ended up just giving me a ticket and a court date and telling me to come fight it. Because they only gave me a ticket for the improper lane change that I did. They
Okay.
didn't give me a ticket for the OWI, thank God. So I don't know if it was somebody else that was guiding me that was around that time to
Mhm.
like make that situation not go down the road that because I'm in school and I'll be somebody's teacher this time next year. So I don't know
Okay.
if that is the guidance part is somebody from who spiritually is guiding me to make sure that didn't happen. But I did have contact with law enforcement. I'm actually not unfamiliar with having contact with them.
Okay, so then maybe it's referencing that, and as you're talking, the only thing I can connect to it is like the Andy Griffith show or whatever. You have like this white police officer in a small town, Cudahy, referencing,
Yeah.
and then you have in the heat of the night the black officer. So maybe kind of like
it was a
referencing-
black officer. It was 3 officers that ended up being there: an Asian, a white, and a black officer.
Okay,
So it was a black officer there.
so maybe that's kind of just Spirit's way of like telling you
I'm
like
mad the
some type
spirit
of
said,
connection.
hey.
Because this next thing is you're gonna laugh because as I'm sitting here, I have to kind of change it up a little bit. But the next thing it showed me was DMX with like a pit bull, and it was like what these bitches want. And I was like, okay, so are you having issues with like, and it don't necessarily have to be females, but are you having issues like in your love life or with people in general? And you're like, man, what these people want from me? Like, why are they messing with me, stressing me, whatever?
And because yes, and he does a crazy ass, good ass impression of DMX as well.
Aw.
So that part, she's annoying. But that part, yes, because I'm currently I'll be divorced in a month.
Okay.
So
Don't party.
yeah, we're partying hardy, party hardy, Ed Hardy. But yeah, that situation had me asking that for a long time because he would not leave me alone.
So like, what this bitch want
Yeah,
from
like,
me?
what more can
He
I?
was harassing.
Yeah.
He would
everybody
harass me
around
for
him,
a very long
everything.
time. So, that was definitely probably that energy. Like it's just now within the last month and a half or so gotten to the point where he hasn't bothered me. So,
all right, well,
But
good.
he kicks it up whenever. So that
All
feeling might come
right.
back.
so
Well,
you never know.
all right. Let's get into the reading and see what cards you got.
Mhm. Where do we
I'm
get
a
this
delicate
from?
flower.
Yeah, right.
Your cards ain't coming out. Let's
Ooh.
They
see.
probably scared of y'all. Feel that energy like, nope. We staying right on. Look, that one's running for
All
cover.
right, here we go.
Oh my lamb.
Okay, so you got the universe card and shadow. You got the number 21 and the number 18. So I don't know if either of those reference like a birthday, an anniversary, someone's passing, or a year like 2021, 2018, or maybe something significant at the age of 18 or 21. Doesn't have to be, but it can be. The universe card, I'm gonna actually look in my book on that one because before I speak on it, I'm gonna go to the shadow card and I'm gonna show it to you. See, and I don't know if they can see, but it's like your dark side and the light side, and it's basically confronting your fears and doing your shadow work. What's done in the dark will come to the light, and also, like, what
No.
secrets you got?
No, I will
Yes.
explain when you. Yeah.
Okay, so it's basically confronting your fears and basically healing from past issues so you can step into the light. So anything that was holding you back before or things that you were scared of, it's time to confront those and face those so you can move forward into the light. On the flip side, it can be what's done in the dark will come to the light if there is someone around you. Again, kind of like that other card. There was a situation and you're like, I don't know, but it's going to come out. It's going to reveal itself, or something you've done will finally come to the light. However, I feel like it's more like doing the shadow work where you go from the negative way of thinking or limiting beliefs and things like that, and you do the shadow work to move yourself forward.
That's exactly what I was going to touch on because that's exactly what I'm doing. So that was She tap
I
in.
literally just told him I was
Um,
proud of him for that. a
because
couple
I
weeks ago.
definitely and it's I call it growing pains right now because I'm definitely going through the I love the transparency. Well, I don't know no other way to be, unfortunately.
Yeah.
But I was literally just speaking about this a couple of weeks ago. Well, thinking about this a couple of weeks ago, should I say? Like I'm really at like a crossroads of like growing pain, and like I'm really trying to figure out a lot of stuff, and it's a lot of work that I have to do and holding myself accountable and others as well, and it's a process. So
It's a
that
lot of work.
yeah.
So I'm gonna go to the book because I don't want you to think I'm just like saying this. But that
Lord.
universe card, it says you have come far on your journey and it's time to be rewarded for your efforts. But it says this card is talking about like the things that you accomplish along your travel and your journey in life. And it's saying it represents like the wisdom that you've gained along the way, but you need to honor and acknowledge how truly wonderful of a soul that you are and accept that you play a part bigger than like in life you play a part bigger than most people would give themselves credit for. So if you thought like your struggles or your issues or whatever you went through was for nothing, it wasn't. So it leads you to something better and to be a bigger part of other people's lives and kind of be something for them.
Somebody been telling you that since the first grade.
Yes. And then it also says, let me just touch on one other thing. Souls shine brightly to guide others through the darkness. And so what do we say? Like going through the dark, getting to the light. So maybe you'll be able to use your experiences to guide and help other people through their dark moments so that they too can see the light. And if you're going to be a teacher, that again, I think it falls back with the whole intuition and knowing our life's purpose. We go through certain things and some of us have to struggle to get to a point where we realize my life's purpose is to actually do this, not to do that. So that was kind of deep, but
It's
Well,
so
my life
true,
is
though.
deep right now, and
I'm about to
that
cry.
definitely that touched.
touched. You want to use
You almost made us
Wait.
both cry. So
pick one or the other?
Am I supposed to pick what I'm drawn to? Or
Yes, what's your drawn
okay, then it's
to?
that.
Okay, yep.
I was trying to pick opposite of what she picked.
No, it's
but
okay.
I was drawn to that one.
Go ahead, twin.
I was trying to think. It was really something else I needed to touch on, but I want to plug myself.
Oh.
So if anyone's watching
yeah,
it,
absolutely. We was definitely gonna give you the
Definitely.
time for that.
And then also, it's people that are watching live within our podcast does go on all platforms tomorrow. I think he said by noon or some shit like that.
okay.
But so anybody that listens can still hear it. That's maybe not watching live.
So that's
Damn,
too many.
No.
Like if it's more than 2 or 3, I usually don't do it. But I'm gonna only shuffle this deck one more time. I know it's what you picked, but possibly your message is not in this deck and it's in that one. And that's really what I think because it's not coming out.
You got the X-Files card.
There you go. All right, communication. So this one talks about there's a conversation that either just happened or is about to happen or needs to happen. You're either gonna finally express some things, your true self, and just let people hear what you got to say, which you do now, but I think on a deeper level or with someone specific, you're gonna speak your piece. It talks about making sure when you do this conversation, you do it humbly because people don't listen if you're screaming, yelling, being crazy. You have to be humble about it so they can, listen. And if it's not you, then someone's going to come to you and want to have a talk. Like, listen, I got some things I need to get off my chest, but there's some type of talk or major communication thing that's going to come in for you.
Am I supposed to react to these? Is that okay?
Oh, yeah.
Because
okay.
I'm really reacting to that with my reading.
So for that specific card, that resonates the most because right now I'm going through a power struggle of growing and learning how to address people in a way that they be receptive to what I have to say. And there's not one person I want to address. There's several people because I feel like I've allowed people to get away so long with overstepping my boundaries and not respecting things about myself that I wish not to be disclosed in certain situations or talked about in certain situations that I feel like I've let go or laughed off and things of that nature. So I've had it in my mind.
Yeah.
I've had it in my mind to have those conversations. So that's like more than one person. I've been thinking about like how to address it for months.
I know one person.
Well, you should do it. Speak, but do it. You have to be. It sucks because you have to kind of just be humble about it, even though you want to be like, listen. First of all, but Otherwise, they don't listen. People tune you out once you start. I keep
Soon
hitting
as
this
you
thing.
start going
Once
on.
you start, yeah,
No, and especially me because that's how I grew up communicating, going off.
yeah.
Yes.
Me too. Like snapping out.
Yeah. And everybody like, okay, boy. At this point.
Right.
And then the last one, do you want a love reading card? Do you want like a regular love or like a higher self
I'm
message?
not optimistic about love, so I would want a love reading to see what they got to say about it.
All right.
Stay single, bitch.
He's not gonna say
All right, let's see here. Okay, the first one is let your friends help you, ask for and accept support from others. Let your friends help you. Maybe they can find somebody for you, or maybe they can tell you when you got the wrong choices going
and I be so
on.
against it. I do not
I am
pay them
psychic.
no
I've been
mind.
telling him half the stuff you telling this man. I've been telling him for years.
And then the next one is give your relationship a chance, work on your partnership. So if, and I'll say, because you said you were just getting divorced, so I don't know if you have anybody now, but maybe, okay. So in your next relationship, possibly it's kind of like give your relationship a chance. Don't feel so jaded or scarred from past situations where you just like right away, like, oh, no, I don't want to, or oh, you're just kind of like whatever. Or give your relationship with yourself a chance. So take some time to learn
That's what
yourself
I'm
and
doing
be
now.
on, yes, before you commit to something else.
Just took yourself on a date the other day.
Yeah, I took
Aw.
myself on a date yesterday. It was amazing.
Yes. You're like, I treated myself to all the
Yes,
finest
I
things.
did. I did. Finest thing you can get at AMC.
I was jealous until I got my kid.
But
No,
that's what I have for you too. So
No, so what I will say is that I'm not a skeptic. I don't think that I could use that word, but I'm part of the reason I don't believe in religion like that is I'm a proof-based person. Like I need
want some.
I need
hardcore
some proof.
some
Like,
facts, some science.
how you know that happened? Like if somebody was like she was talking about you behind your back. Okay, do you got a recording? Do you
Okay,
do you
yeah.
have a
Show it.
transcript? Because I don't believe you. So for me, this was pleasantly surprising because, like you said, I feel like there was no way they tapped into this with not knowing me at all, y'all. This is my first time
And I
meeting
gave
her.
her your name. You didn't even talk to her.
yeah.
And the crazy part is that's not even my legal name. So
I gave her Akeem.
no, you gave her Donnie.
You gave
I
Donnie.
gave her Donnie. Look,
Yeah.
not too many damn names. Yeah. So, just brief
What's really
background.
going on here?
I met him in first grade. And
No, my
he
name
was-
is it's
Are you in the
adjacent
run
to
from
that.
the law?
No.
his real name is Don Akeem.
Claybrook.
He let me call him Akeem for the last 20 some odd years. And then when we were like 19, 20, he was like, actually, it's Akeem. And then a few years later, he's like, actually, the first name is Don. And I was like, well, you know what? You let me call you Akeem all these years. That's your
So
name.
my childhood, my family, they called me Akeem growing up. So like they called me by
I
my
thought
middle
they were
name.
being assholes. I heard
So-
them call him his proper name.
And then my first name is Don, but I'm named after an uncle. There's like 4 or 5 Dons in my family. I have a cousin named Don that's our age. So
Mhm.
everybody calls him Don. So when I was trying to think of a Facebook name one day, I was like, I don't want to use Akeem because everybody calls me that. I want to be different. I'm like, I'm gonna go by Donnie. So I just went by Donnie and it stuck. And now everybody who met me after high school calls me Donnie. So that's actually a nickname. It's not like
Our
an
other
alias.
two
Yeah.
call him that, and I've been hearing it so much lately. I've been calling him that to the point where my mama was like, "Who in the hell is that?"
Donnie.
Yes, I was like, "Oh, Akeem, child, Akeem, my bad." She was like, "You know his name,"
But Crystal, my friend on Facebook, she know what it is.
and she still calls you Akeem as well.
And she should. I hate when you call me Donnie because I'm like, who are you? But I also understand you've been around a lot of friends.
It's Jamal
that,
and
yes,
Berto's fault.
that call me
Not my
Donnie.
fault.
So okay, we're gonna wrap it up soon. But I actually, after the reading, I have a couple more questions if that's okay.
Okay.
Okay. So have you ever had a reading done on yourself?
Yes. Okay. So it's real funny because my mom. Do you guys know who like Teresa Caputo is and like those?
The wig
people-
girl. with
Yes,
The Long
okay.
So
Island.
that sounds.
Yes.
I mean, not Long
familiar.
Island,
Yes,
what's
it
it
is
called?
Long Island Media.
Long Island,
Yes.
New York? Okay.
So my mom is exactly that, and that's how we grew up. We'd be anywhere with her, and she would just start reading people, and we'd be like, "Oh my god, this is so embarrassing." But then when she tells them stuff, and like it really resonates, then we're like, "Yeah, that's my mom." Like,
Right. Now you're
But
proud.
she always gives us advice, me and my sister, and if it's not what we want to hear, we're like, oh, whatever, whatever. She's just throwing her little thing in there, and then it always comes out right. And then we're like, okay, we should have listened. But I do go to people, and the problem is, I've like started judging them. Like when they start asking me questions, I'm like, you didn't tell me anything. And then I get frustrated and I'm like, you know what? So I try to read my own cards and then I'm like, no, I'm going to read them again. Or like, so I've learned not to really like read myself. I did go though. I'm going to plug this lady. I don't even know her name, but she's a legitimate just tarot card reader. She doesn't connect with spirit or anything. Her reading was really good because she almost hit on points. And I feel like she was probably one of the most accurate people. And she's down on like the east side, southeast side somewhere. I'll have to think of her name and like saying it. But a lot of these other people that I've like asked or like Facebook popular people, they didn't tell me nothing that was worth anything. And I'm just like, whatever. And oh, one more thing. So you have to be careful who you go to. And I'll tell you why, because I went to a lady when I was really going through some things and I believe she put a curse on me. After I went and saw her and I wouldn't agree to come back and pay her more money for more services, she like shushed me out the door and was like, you'll never be successful. You'll never have anything. Everything you do will fail. And I thought, well, you're supposed to be a spiritual advisor. And you said that to me, like, what? And when we were sitting in her room, the light was blinking and when the lights blink sometimes, that's my way of knowing a spirit is in the room. And I said,
Right.
and I would think that she would know that too. I was like, oh, there's a spirit in the room. She's like, what? I'm like, oh, your lights just blinked. And she's like, no, they didn't. So I was like,
Girl.
So I feel like she put a hex on me because my store did not work. It didn't work at all. And like a year later, I was cracking an egg and it was all bloody. The egg was all bloody. And I made a joke. I'm like to my mom, I'm like, oh, I think whatever curse was on me is gone. And that same day, just by chance, I drove past where this lady's office is closed. Her business was closed. And I said, I think that curse was broke because
She's no longer in business.
she's no longer in business. And you don't do stuff like that. So if somebody's pumping you for money or telling you have to come back and do this and do that, I don't think that that's real. A real person,
Right.
if you want to come back, come back. If you don't, you don't. Like, I'm not going to be
Right.
like, you got to come every month and pay me for this. No, it doesn't work like that.
Right.
No, for sure.
Yeah.
For sure. Before we wrap it up, I actually feel compelled to say something. And I actually feel kind of crazy sharing this because I've never shared it. I don't even know with you. I was gonna say publicly, but I don't even know if I shared it with
I'm
you.
sure waiting to see if I know it.
I want to know what's going
So,
on.
I've dated two other people who were into tarot readings or whatever. Dated. No, I wasn't actually with them. You know one of them, but I'll tell you who it is later. I don't know if he wants everybody in his business. But one of them had told me, he was like, actually both of them had told me this part, like, you need to tap in because you have this talent. As you said, everybody has it. So he had actually set me down and made me read him. And it was so crazy because when I was reading him, I don't know if it was like what I was saying was like manifested stuff into his life or whatever the case may be, but he was like, you did it so flawlessly, so perfectly. So it's actually something that I had been looking into, trying to tap into, but I've been so busy. But to have, and these people are from the islands, both of these people, who was like, oh, and the first one that told me was so weird because we were just chilling. He was like, oh, you got a gift. I was like, what are you talking about? I'm like, boy, you're crazy. He said, no, you have a gift. You need to tap into this. So to just be here in this space, I've never said this to nobody because I never planned on tapping into the gift or whatever, but this has definitely been like a maybe I should type of thing. But I just wanted to share that. So I know y'all thought it was gonna be crazy.
But I'm gonna start teaching classes because I want to do one-on-ones with people because I feel like, why am I, you know how people gatekeep or whatever, why would I gatekeep it? Because some people have it and they're scared to address it, or nobody will talk to them about it, or they don't know how to use it. And I know from certain things that happened in my life, like I've had like really, really haunting stuff happen. And now that I'm older, I'm like, it's not even scary. And I'll just real quick touch on this. I've had spirits like knock things down. And before I understood my gift, I'd be like, get out of my house, like leave me alone. And now I just be like, don't knock my shit down. If you gotta talk to me, come in my thing or whatever. So I feel like if you feel like you have it or you're interested in it, you might be going through that point in life where you're at your like spiritual awakening, and you're gonna like take a whole different direction and start doing things differently. And this is the beginning process. You're more interested in it. You want to know more about it. Like you said, I wanted to learn more about other stuff. Like I thought crystals were stupid. A friend of mine put me on it. He was like, "Oh, you should get this citrine crystal. It's for money, blah blah blah." I'm like, "This is so dumb," but I'm gonna go buy it. I bought it, and literally the next day, I got my business loan, and I was like, "Well, damn, there might be something to this."
Meditation. I had always actually been very big on meditation. I never shared that with y'all, but that's always been a huge grade school, high school. I've always meditated before school, all that. So that was where it started for me. And then I started getting into the crystals. Just it was another way to just be calm, almost like when we were in Catholic school and we would do the Hail Mary and the with the rosemaries and stuff. It was kind of like that for me. And then after a while, sometimes I'll tap into it, but it's not consistent. Sometimes I can feel like my aunt around me, or I can feel a spirit near or something like that, but it's never ever consistent. Like I feel my aunt around me right now. I can't even lie. She all around me right now.
Yep, I think people should tap into it. You just have to be careful, and just I always, because people are like, well, how do you protect yourself? How do you protect your clients? Like before I read somebody, I automatically ask God, cover me in a white light. Nothing can enter that's not of the Lord or of the light or whatever. And then like right before I leave, I'm gonna spray this little sage spray in this room and say like anything that's in here has to go. But I sage my house like once a week. I do that all the time, and
I forget the other.
I've also learned to like if something. Okay, I'll put this a different way. You can kind of tell the difference between a good spirit and a bad spirit, or a good energy and a bad energy. And if something feels off, just leave it alone. Because I had a friend call me and she's like, "Can you come bless this house? We think it's haunted, where our construction workers won't work on it." It was like a house she bought. I'm like, "Well, I'll come tomorrow after work." And in the middle of the night, 3:00 in the morning, I swear, like it sounds so crazy, but I woke up and I'm like, "Oh, I can't breathe." And my covers were like squeezing me to where I was ripping them, screaming. And I got them off and I started praying, because I always sleep with a rosary, and I pray if I feel like something's negative or trying to talk to me that I don't want to talk to. And my mom calls me at 3:00 in the morning and she's like, "Girl,
the witching hour."
Yes, between 3 and 5. Yes. And she was like, "I'm having a really bad feeling about you." So I tell her what happens. And she's like, "Do not go to that house. Whatever is there doesn't want you to do it. Whoever lives there needs to do it." So that's why people, I think, are afraid of it. They don't know how to handle or address it. But it's kind of like you have to be strong enough to be like, "No, get out." And that is something that you learn, because I used to always have my rosary. I mean, any boyfriend I've ever had would start off not believing, but by the time we're broken up, they're like, "Oh, that she can do this." And I have a habit of waking up in the middle of the night screaming out prayers, because a lot of times things would come that I didn't understand. Now I don't have that so much, and I feel like it's because now they kind of know, like you could just come to me and like say it and I'll hear it, or you'll come in my vision and I'll see it. So I don't know. I feel like people just really need to understand it's a gift that we all have. It's not the devil's work. You can use it to do the devil's work,
Right.
but initially I
It's
don't
not.
think it is. Yeah.
Right.
Okay, so
I agree.
we're gonna wrap it up soon, but
You just said that.
Five
hold on.
times.
I did say that 5 times because I got one more question. This is my last question. I swear to God, on my for crackers and cheese. This is my last question. Okay. So I suffer from sleep paralysis,
Okay.
and it kind of scares me, especially after seeing Insidious. That's why I was like, it wasn't that scary the last one, because it's supposed to give me nightmares about going to sleep. Because I suffer from sleep paralysis. I don't astral project, but I do have sleep paralysis where I'm stuck in that state between half sleep and awake, but I can't move.
Ooh,
And I
hate that.
hallucinate and I see things, but I have it so often that I feel like I need to go get diagnosed for a condition, because it happens at least 2 or 3 times a month where I am like paralyzed. I used to be really scared of it, like you said before. And like now, like when I see stuff, like I've seen the devil, I've seen God, I've seen angels. And like when I see things that would terrify me now at this big age, I'm like, it's not real. And like I'm awake. So I'm like, it's not real, Akeem. It's not real. It's not real. And like I snapped myself out of it. My ex-husband did not believe me. And so I told him, I was like, if you ever see me shaking in my sleep, shake me and wake me up, because I'm struggling to wake up. And he saw me. He's like, I thought you were having a seizure. So this is like, that's how real it is. Like, he was like, and he shook me. I was like, I was going through sleep paralysis. Like, for real, I'm so glad you woke me up, because I hate being in that state and I live alone. So like when I go through that, I go through it alone. I don't know if you have like any knowledge about that realm or where you're at in that state that you could offer me?
So there's two things because I've had that happen to me. I think two things. So it's a possibility. It could just be stress and anxiety manifesting as like something that's holding you back or holding you hostage, and it's like all of that energy is just dark for that moment. I think it could be spirits. It could be negative spirits, which I would say then cleanse your house. And if that happens, automatically just say, like, in the name of Jesus Christ, I command you to leave. You're not welcome here. You
I
can't
can't
touch me.
talk.
You in your head,
Oh,
you
in my
will
head.
start
Okay.
doing it when you put yourself, because what happened to me is I would be in my bed and I don't know if I'm sleeping or awake, but I would hear the doorknob turn and the door open. And in my head, I'm like, is it someone really coming in my apartment
Yeah.
or is this something else?
Right.
And then I'd know like, oh, it's not someone, it's something. And then a dark shadow figure would be like right there at my door or right at my bed. And if I,
Incubus and succubus.
no, I don't know. But if I felt negative, I'd be like, you got to go in the name of Jesus Christ. I command you to leave. If I feel like if it feels dark or negative, maybe
name
do
of
some
Jesus
cleansing
Christ.
or praying. Yes.
You gotta go.
But also stress and anxiety manifest as other
I have
things.
anxiety really bad.
Yep.
So-
So sometimes.
Yeah, I have
Mhm.
anxiety really bad. So actually, it's gotten better since I cut back on drinking. It's gotten a lot better
Yeah.
because I didn't know how much that shit
Yes.
Adds to
yeah
it.
adds
Mhm.
to it. But it's gotten better. But do you have any final questions for our guests before we wrap it up, darling? Officially.
Final questions? Not
Or
really.
question.
But if you wanted to go ahead and
Plug
plug your
myself.
stuff, yeah.
Okay, so I have a massage. I feel like, where am I supposed to be looking? I have a massage.
know.
It's right there.
Oh,
Oh, look, I
I
don't
have-
know. I've been trying to figure out the whole show.
Oh, you know, I always know where the
Of
camera
course you
is.
do.
I have a massage therapy office and I do tarot card, and I actually do a whole massage where I try to cleanse you and tap into any spirits that have crossed over to help people. 105th and Blue Mountain Wauwatosa, and my website is designher touch.com. Also, you could follow me on Instagram. I always share things on there. Designer Touch Massage, Instagram, Facebook, or at JaylinK79 is my Instagram. However, it's a little risky, so follow me if you dare. But
How did you discover her?
I don't even know. We've been friends on Facebook, like I said, because I've been friends with her since she had her clothing store and stuff. That was a while ago. She'd been a couple occupations.
she
since
like,
then.
I follow this crazy white girl.
So I'm like, I don't know. Like, we just ended up being friends or whatever. You know me, I talk to everybody. She has great energy. She always, like, she'll have these posts talking shit about dudes. You know, I love to talk shit about men, child. Because just like they be in our inbox, they be in her inbox tripping too. So I don't know. We just like we would chat, and then she made the post about this, and I had
Yeah.
already been watching you like with your tarot reading journey or whatever. So when you made the post, I was like, hell yeah,
Yeah.
ASAP.
Well,
Yes.
it's crazy. I just did a party and it was like 10 people, and I brought my friend with me. I never bring anyone. She's like, let's record it. And I was like, no, I don't want to like intrude on their party. And every single reading was so spot on. And she's like, you just missed the whole opportunity to record it, because people can't, they don't believe it if they don't do it or they don't see it or they
Or see
think
the
like,
reaction.
yeah,
Yeah.
But these days, I feel like they'll still find a way to doubt it because they'll be like, "Oh, that was scripted."
yeah.
Some
Everybody
people
there.
will, and
It'll
some
draw
people
some
won't.
people, but yeah,
Yeah.
the
For
skeptics are
me-
gonna skept. Tone,
They
what
cut
are you
us.
doing?
For me,
Thank you, Pooh.
I already knew her
Oh, he
somewhat.
can't cut us. We
so-
got 25 minutes.
No, I already knew her somewhat, so I already knew like she's legit. Yeah, I'm not
Period.
gonna ask.
I was worried today. I was stressed out. I'm like, please, God, don't fail me. I look so stupid.
No.
I had
Oh my
no
God.
concerns at all.
Well, I didn't know you. I came through with an open mind, open. I don't want to say spirit. I don't know if I can open my own spirit, but I came through with a big open mind, ready to. Because this was my thing. Because I watched some of these shows, I was like, I'm not agreeing to nothing that don't make sense.
Yeah.
You know how sometimes
Some people
a-
agree.
A,
just
grandma
to
with the letter
agree.
G. No, my grandma's name did not start with the letter G. Absolutely not. And I'm not agreeing to that bullshit.
You so
My mama name started with a G. But no.
You know, I think that's the other thing too. People sometimes come into it expecting what they want to hear, and then when they don't hear, they're like, "It didn't make sense for me." And it's like, I didn't tell you you're gonna be rich tomorrow, so
Right.
now you're mad. Like I can't help that. Because I had
Right.
one person, I'm like, oh, I saw your son holding a baby, blah blah blah. She's like, yeah, no, that doesn't make any sense. I want another reading. I'm like, well, you have to wait 30 days. So like literally 30 days later, she's like, can you do another reading? And I did her reading, and I said, girl, I'm sorry, but I still see your son holding a baby. And she said, I know, I just wanted to test you. Look, and she sent me the text. His girlfriend was pregnant, but for 30 days, you're stressing me out because you didn't hear what you wanted to hear. You making me doubt
So
myself.
she had to pay again to get the second reading.
No, I did it for her free
Ah, she
because
charged
I
her.
felt like
You had something to prove.
yes.
Maybe because
Yeah, I
you a
get
baby
that.
psychic. I don't know if you consider yourself a baby psychic. I'm not trying to be demeaning or whatever.
Yeah,
but,
because I feel like I do feel like I have to prove myself. And sometimes I do give away free readings just to prove it. But I've had a lot of people say, stop doing that
yeah,
because you
to
are
prove a
better than
point.
most people. So like you should be charging more. But I mean, obviously I'm not gonna
I'm like,
charge more.
to be honest with you, you're the first person I've sat down with that's read me like without knowing me.
Mhm.
This is probably like my third or fourth reading in life overall. None of them have ever been off. But
Same with
this
mine.
is the most sorry, y'all, most meaningful because you don't know me.
Yeah.
You know, so to get that feedback about things that actually resonate with me is
See, all of
crazy.
mine, the readers didn't really know me, but my last one I feel like was more emotional because I was more emotional.
Mhm.
Me and Doug were still very much separated. It was a lot of other
Oh
things
yeah,
going
I
on.
remember this because you
Yeah,
had.
because
I was like, when did you go?
there
I wanna
was
go.
Me too. Shit. I need
I'm
somebody-
finna tell, look, I'm finna tell you so you can be a
Somebody
vendor
help
next
me.
year. It was some type of like holistic spiritual like expo in like a hotel in Brookfield.
Okay.
And they had tarot reading, they had people selling crystals, they had people who made soap, they had people, it was all just all holistic stuff.
Okay.
um and there was a lady there from Chicago, a black lady. She gave me a reading, and she was like you. She saw spirits. She explained all that. She sees spirits. If you see me talking to somebody
Yeah.
right here, that's just a spirit that wants to help me, deliver a message. Da, da, da. And she did the same thing. She waited for the card. She shoved the card. She waited for them to fall out. All that stuff. I just think that I was way more emotional at the time overall
Mhm.
because we touched on all kind of stuff. Love, my miscarriage, my son, like all kind of stuff. But this one, I feel like even though it was less emotional, it made the most sense. Like I was able to interpret the message way more.
Well, good. I'm glad I can help.
Because it was speaking to me about my catering business a lot. Because I actually
That's what I thought
recently,
when she mentioned that part.
a few times, even during the love one, because there were actually a few times recently where I was discouraged and I was thinking about giving up the business. My sister had sent me like a cooking
You must didn't get my
competition.
voicemail. I
I
had
don't
sent you
know.
a voicemail. You never responded to it, so I'm assuming you didn't get
Oh,
it.
I
But I
must
had
not have.
literally told you it was like a minute long message of me telling you do not give up. So when you find yourself discouraged, call me so that I can pour it into you. And I was
I'ma
saying
look
like
it
this is
up.
your calling in life, and I was referencing how everybody in our circle is doing stuff. I was like, Alex is doing this, I'm doing this, Jamal has just completed and done this. You need to
Stick to my
stick into your
catering.
stuff because what I don't want is for you to be left behind and then you look up at everybody is going where they're
So
going,
I
So you
was
need to stick
discouraged a
to it.
couple weeks ago. However, for my birthday, actually, not necessarily for my birthday, but during my birthday when I was off of work, we went to this farmer's market at Estabrook Park. And the way it's set up is all these vendors there and they selling all these different goods. And I was like, I should be selling my Brit boxes here. So I signed up for it with the people who choose the vendors or whatever. And then I got inboxed about another opportunity where I can sell my Brit boxes out of a business. I just pay them $75 and all the profits I keep for myself. So I actually just bought all the supplies that I need. And I got some marketing that'll be rolling out in about a week. And yeah, I will be moving
Well,
forward
I'm
with the
here to
catering
support.
business.
I've already booked you for a few events.
Yes.
And hopefully we can book you for this event for May.
I was already
we still
thinking
gotta
that.
talk about that. We still haven't finalized that. But on a serious note, like For real. Let's wrap this up.
For the
uh,
umpteenth time.
right? Because I was on the phone with Marlena earlier, and I was like, "Let's wrap it up," in 5 times
Yeah,
before
right.
I actually wrapped it up. I could talk for a long time, but so I do want to wrap it up. I do want to let you know that we appreciate you
Yes, thank
coming.
you so much.
We appreciate you giving us our reading, and I definitely received it.
Yes.
Is there any final words for you?
I don't know. I just tell everybody live in your own truth. Who cares what anyone else thinks? And even if people look down on you or don't like what you have going on, or they tell you it's wrong and you shouldn't, let them say what they want to say and keep doing it. Because that's my number one thing I get all the time is like blah blah blah, and they always want to change me and they want to show me what the Bible would say and do this and do that. I don't want you to. I don't try to change you. You don't have to get a reading. You don't have to believe in me, and I don't have to live the way that you live.
Right.
I say that all the time. We don't have to agree, but we should at least respect each other.
Yes.
That part,
you
we
don't
all
have to do what I do, and I
coexist.
don't have to do what you do.
We all have to coexist. Well, on that note, we're gonna sign out. We appreciate all the viewers for watching. Thank y'all for all the comments. Thank you for tuning in. I hope you all enjoyed the show. She shouted out her business if you want to get a reading of your own. How
Or
much
a
do you
massage.
charge?
Oh, yeah, that's what I should have touched on. So a regular reading in person is $40. A video read where you can literally DM me, cash at me, and I'll send you a video is $30. People want to know, is there a difference in the quality? No, they're the same. There is a difference if you come get an actual massage and then I do the reading, because I feel like I've touched you, like our energy is in the room together, so it could be more deeper. So that's the main difference.
That's the one I want.
Okay, yeah, I want that reading too.
Right.
You do this at a place of business, or you do this?
I have my own office. So yep, it's on 105th and Blue Mound.
Right, you did say that.
Yep.
Okay, yeah. So she shouted out her business, y'all. If y'all are interested, please check
I can do
her
parties
out.
too.
Oh, she does parties. I might
Invite
have
me
to
to the
have one of
party.
those. Yes.
Man's
I'm
going away
good
party.
for-
You need to
Oh,
read.
we can't do it in the park.
Ooh, she need to read. So it's
But thank everybody for watching. Make sure y'all check her out. We appreciate everybody for tuning in. As always, my name is Donnie Akeem, whichever you prefer.
and just call me twin.
And that's period. She'll know who you're talking to, especially if I'm around.
Yeah.
Y'all have a great night. Stay safe and have a great weekend.